only for the plot line. Hey guys. Okay, so today we are doing Rise of Skywalker. I saw this movie the first night it came out on Thursday. He saw it the end of December, and that's why this video is a little later. But I did want to make this video before it came out. So there are huge spoilers ahead. Um, the video is like maybe when we were talking about it online. It's it's a really long video because like 80% of this movie, if not more, is plot convenienced. So usually I show the clips, so we're just gonna have to talk about it. But we talk about almost everything in the movie. So like I said, as I said before, and this is the second time, there are huge spoilers ahead. So please welcome my friend Kai.
So thank you, Kai, for joining us today on Only for the Plotline.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed your videos thus far, and this seems like fun.
Oh, well, glad I have someone else on my show for once. That's not a cat, and that walks away from me, that bastard.
Right.
Okay, so we're doing Rise of the Skywalker, as I already mentioned to the fans, and as far as I know, you have more notes than I did, so you're going to be starting us off today.
Well, I guess I want to first say that I understand what Abrams was trying to do with this movie. It was just a bit much, you know. It seemed like 2 or 3 different movies kind of smashed into one, and
okay.
Well, anyway, 2 or 3 movies, and it was too much. It went very quick, so it was kind of difficult to pay attention to what was happening.
Yeah.
I guess what's most apropos, at least to your channel, and as we kind of set up for this and talked about it somewhat already, but okay, so Kylo Ren with these wayfinders, right? These are the main MacGuffins of the whole movie. Kylo, first locates his wayfinder, and Rey needs to find one herself because Palpatine has announced that he is alive still somehow, and
yes.
So essentially the whole movie hinges on these wayfinders. And we first see Kylo battling on some planet, and he finds a wayfinder for some reason. He knows that it's there. We're not given much information.
Yeah.
Right. So
typical.
Then what? He goes on to Exegol to kill the Emperor by himself for some reason.
Yeah, doesn't send his army.
Awesome.
Send by himself.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on that? It seemed really strange to start a movie off that way.
Did you just ask me what my thoughts were?
Yes.
Well, I wish they had shown, let's see, in the beginning part, the first words in the little Star Wars credits, that Palpatine has already made himself known. I would have liked to have seen in the movie him making himself known somehow. Maybe we're watching The Resistance, and then you hear this big laugh, and you're like, okay, what the heck was that? That's what I would have liked. Not, oh, okay, Palpatine's back, and what we got was what we got. I would have liked to have seen him come back.
Right. Or at least given a plausible reason how he survived that plunge right at the end of Return of the Jedi. How the hell did he survive that?
Yeah.
Whatever. So the wayfinders, this seems like, to me anyway, it just seems like very convenient that there's 2 of these things, and they point the way to this Sith planet, and I just don't understand why they needed to use these MacGuffins at all. Like, you can't put coordinates into a nav computer. I don't know. I don't get it. It seems like it's very, very convenient for the plot. And I guess my biggest gripe with the movie would be the writing, because visually it was stunning. I think you and I both agree on that, right? It looked very good,
Yes,
and
yes.
I don't really have too much issue with the acting. I thought that was really good too. It's just the writing and the plot. It was, I don't know. Anyway, so Kylo goes to Exegol, and he didn't understand at the time what kind of threat he was facing, and he goes by himself. I don't understand. It's just really, really odd that that would occur. Um, I mean, he first of all, he's the leader of the First Order now, and why would he put himself in that kind of danger? You know, he's like, yeah, I'm going to go by myself, and who knows what the threat is? I'm just going to face down a whole army with my lightsaber. Just
Yeah.
again, the writing here, it's terrible. So he meets Palpatine, and Palpatine offers him this massive fleet that he's been building for 40 years or so, and what where did he get the resources for this stuff?
Yeah, I think that's the big gripe is the resources.
Sure, like you gotta explain this stuff somehow, you know. We're talking
Yeah.
about, I don't know, I didn't count how many Star Destroyers there were, but the scene gave us it seemed like maybe hundreds. I don't know.
I only have 10 fingers, so
Yeah, yeah. It seemed like quite a massive, not a fleet, but an armada, right? We don't really got the resources for this stuff, and he offers the fleet to Kylo. Um, why I don't know because when we start talking about the end of this film, he wants Rey to take over. It just, like I said, the writing is terrible. I don't know what were your thoughts on that particular scene when you watched it for the first time. What were you thinking?
Okay, so I mean, I don't mind that he even went. I would kind of expect him to go, but like you said, not to have gone alone. And maybe
Yeah,
the emperor gave him the army or the because somebody had to take control of it for now. I don't know.
for what?
You can't
They don't
ask me
know each other,
about that
right?
movie.
They don't even know each other, so it's like, what is going on? What is happening with this movie? Um, okay, yeah. So the resource, the manpower, um, and there's all these Sith acolytes. I'll call them that, Sith acolytes. And they've got these hoods and these bandages, and there's hundreds or thousands of them. We don't know where they came from, if they're indigenous to the planet or what. Why they're helping Palpatine? We just we don't get enough information. I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what's big here, because it's towards the end of the movie, um, Palpatine changes his mind or something, but he wants Kylo to kill Rey.
Yes.
And
And then about halfway, he tells him he hasn't done it yet, and he gives him a second chance before
sure,
he unleashes his army.
yeah. So it's like it's more than once. Kill this girl, more than once, and then we find. Well, we'll get to the end.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
But we'll just say for now, so he did want to kill her twice, or someone else to kill her, but then he doesn't do it, so then he needs her alive so she could kill him. Just so we can get that plot convenience out of the way.
Yeah. It's
and out of the thing.
So convoluted, this whole story. So I guess the next convenience would be, well, I guess Ray and Poe and God, I can't even remember the characters. Are so immemorable, unmemorable.
Poe and who else was
Finn.
that?
Yeah, there we go. Finn.
Oh, and Finn.
Yeah, so they find this Sith dagger that would point them to the way to find the other Wayfinder. And they're on another planet, which I don't know the name of it. I don't know. Did they say in the movie? I think they did.
I think they did, but I saw it right the first night, and I can't remember the names of these planets.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So Kylo finds Rey through their connection. I've been calling it Force Skype because what else? I mean,
Yeah, we've been calling it Force Skype. So but in the last film, it turned out to be Snoke. He was doing it to them, but
Right,
Snoke's dead, and now Kylo's doing. He knows how to do that already. He knows how to make this power happen, and he could do it at will.
and it seems like possibly Rey can also reciprocate, right? So they didn't. I don't know. They didn't need Snoke to do it, or what's going on here?
Or they just learned, oh, that can happen, so let's do it ourselves or something.
And then why is their connection so deep? That I don't understand that either, because you would think that Vader and Luke would have had a connection like that, right? We see towards the end of The Empire Strikes Back where Vader contacts Luke through the Force, but it's not like that. It's not like they could see, right? It's not like they could see each other.
Yeah, if anything, it's more like a voice in the back of your head or something, or when Luke calls out to Leia.
More like a feeling, and as the audience, you get the way they shot it. You got the impression that that's exactly what it was. It was some kind of feeling, a mystical feeling. And I guess that would be another one of my complaints about this movie. They've taken the Force and they've almost demystified it and turned it into like a material thing, right? Because now they can snatch objects through time and space.
Yeah.
Force. Well,
yeah. So they're at this planet. There turns out they're at a festival. Kylo not only does it to Rey unexpectedly, he steals her necklace from her.
Yeah, and how did he know he could do it? I guess that would be the first question. Like, how do you know you could do that? I don't know.
So,
in the last film, The Last Jedi, were they able to physically touch through that connection? I can't remember.
They did because they were holding hands, or they touched hands.
Okay, so maybe that's how.
And then that's when Rey was like, "Oh, I felt the good in him."
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
what it was raining too, like when they were initiating contact, and he had water had come on him. I think John
that was on gloves.
Yeah, he had already started this Force Skype and Force teleportation. You can teleport things through the Force now.
Yeah, but that's another plot convenience we'll get to later.
Yeah, and so Kylo finds Rey and company through this necklace. They were able to analyze it like
super quickly.
Yeah, ridiculously quickly, and then find them. Go to that planet that fast, which seemed a little off too, but whatever. It's like I said, this movie is so mashed together and it goes so quickly that it's really, really difficult to kind of follow what's going on. And even not just cognitively, but emotionally too. You're trying to connect with the characters, like that scene. I guess that's next. That scene where Rey uses the Force lightning to.
Well, we're actually how it's convenient how so she knows that Kylo's going to be after them, and then so she tells them that they have to start leaving, and then man, I can't remember if they meet Lando first and then they fall into a hole.
I'm sorry, what?
They meet Lando and then they fall into the sand. or
Yeah,
was it the Santos and then Lando?
and that's where they find the Sith dagger down there. And why is this quicksand? Why doesn't it collapse into those tunnels? I didn't understand that. It seemed kind of strange too. You can you could fall through this quicksand, but the quicksand's going to stay as a ceiling. It won't fall into the tunnels.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. That's weird. And then, so they find this dagger, and then turns out they have Sith writing. They don't know what it is, I don't think. But then 3PO is like, hey, you know what? I can actually read this. I just can't tell you anything, unless I can't remember if he tells them he has to lose his mind first, if he has to have the mind wiped, or they find out later. But yeah, so then you have a protocol droid who is made in the first film, made from a 10-year-old kid who installed somehow all these languages into this droid. So how did this kid know to put Sith language, a dead language, in a protocol droid? Sure. Even though he's lost his mind a few times already.
Yeah, that's it's beyond me. I don't know. I don't think they. I think the whoever wrote this film probably wasn't much of a Star Wars fan.
It is possible. I was watching a couple of videos, even though it's off topic, on one of the Harry Potter films, the Goblet of Fire. How actually that director, he actually did not watch any Harry Potter films and barely read the books, and they left him in charge. And that's why we got a weird. A lot of people complain about that movie, but some people don't. But that's why we got that type of movie, and it was supposed to be much darker. But yeah, that's off topic.
Interesting.
So now on to the lightning. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, you had told me a bit of information about that. I found it kind of fascinating. Why don't you expound upon that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the scene. Let's see. So they run away. They get onto the ship, but they don't take off right away. Neither does Rey. She goes off where we see in the trailer. You know, Kylo's gonna run her down in a TIE fighter, but misses. And they're sending Chewie after her. He gets captured. So he comes out of the wreckage, not hurt, very mad. And then the ship takes off, and she knows about she finds out somehow Chewie got captured. So they're both she's pulling in the ship. Kylo pulls it to him as well. Or no, I think he's pushing it away, and she's pulling it close. And then all of a sudden, Sith lightning comes out of her hands. But guess what? Only for the Plotline fans, that is not possible. It would have to be a learned power, but what you get is not actual Sith lightning. It is something like a facsimile or a weaker version of the Sith lightning. True Sith lightning is blue, like what we saw Rey have, but you have to be hit by the Sith lightning first in order to do the power. And in order to back my point, more or less, I'll be showing a clip of another YouTube channel. And I'll send a couple links to a couple of the videos that actually talk more about the Sith lightning. But she was not supposed to have Sith lightning come out of her hands with what she got.
But again, here, what I was going to say before we had to talk about the dagger, here again, we have a very emotional scene, right? Rey believes she just killed one of her friends with her force powers, and we're not given enough time to kind of sit with that emotional resonance. I mean, we learn that Chewbacca's still alive before she even does, and that seemed like a missed opportunity to me, because you didn't really see Rey kind of wrestle with that pain. It was just, there wasn't enough time. It's just, this whole movie is too quick.
Yeah. I mean, only cry for 2 seconds before something funny's happening.
Right. They needed to slow it down just a little bit so we can get hit with some of this, like the emotions, or even uh, see how some of the characters are interacting with each other, and some of the emotional resonance with all that. We don't get it.
All right, quick pause on our video. Just because I'm going to show from a different YouTube channel this Star Wars theory on in one of their episodes where they talk about where Jedi were forbidden to use Sith lightning, and this is an excerpt from the clip I'm showing is in a Legends book or Legends the Legends and not canon. But I think it does both. But this particular one is for Legends, and this is to explain um, why Ray wasn't able to do Sith lightning.
In the Legends novel Darth Plagueis, we have this quote from Plagueis himself when instructing Palpatine on Force lightning for the first time.
A Jedi sufficiently strong in the Force can be trained to produce a facsimile, but not true Sith lightning.
And this is exactly right. The Jedi who did produce a copy of Force lightning was Plo Koon. However, it's not true Sith lightning. It was more like a stun gun, which was due to the Jedi forbidding him from really letting go and hating the enemy, and thus making his attack deadly. And therein lies the difference, which you saw in the thumbnail. However, that's not even Legends from the film novelization, which is Legends enough, so it's beyond even considerable. Now, lastly, in order to execute Force lightning, you first had to be exposed to it yourself. Meaning, you needed to be shocked by it. This is what happened to Darth Maul. He was immensely tortured by Palpatine.
Alright, so Rey thinks Chewbacca's dead. They leave that planet where they had found the Sith dagger, and they go to another planet to slice into 3PO's head and to figure out what's written on the dagger. After that's done, that's when Kylo shows up on the planet to find Rey and company, and then Rey realizes that Chewbacca's still alive, and they go to rescue Chewie on the ship. But now I can't remember if Rey stayed on the planet, didn't she? She stayed on the planet for whatever reason. It was just Finn and Poe who went up to rescue Chewbacca.
No, they went in a different direction, I think.
No, that's not right. She did go. She did go up to the ship with them. I take that back, because that's when we get the Skype lightsaber battle. She's in Kylo's quarters.
Yep.
He's down on the surface of the planet.
But this time he can't even see her. He just knows she's standing there, and he only finds out where she is when they knock down Vader's his mantle of Vader's helmet.
I think he can see her. He just can't see her surroundings.
Well, that's what I meant. He can't see her surroundings. Is what I meant. Obviously, because you can't force Skype a lightsaber battle if you can't see her. So I meant the surroundings.
Yeah. so when you force Skype, you can't see the surroundings, but you can see the person.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how this works. How exactly does Skype work?
What if they were like, why are you sitting down? What is that I smell?
Oh, you caught me at a bad time.
Come back in 5 minutes.
Give me about 10 minutes.
And then they appear again, like, oh, hey, can you hand me the toilet paper?
Right. Force.
Yeah, so the person waits, and then she comes back. Oh, you need the toilet paper. Here you go. That's funny. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
Yeah, very odd. That whole the power itself. Like, I'm not adverse to introducing new force powers. The problem I have with it, though, is you would think that 1,000 generations of Jedi would have figured out how to do that before now, and we would have seen it in the prequels. So when you got to be careful with messing around with the lore of a movie. You got to be really careful about introducing these kinds of things, because you don't want to what's the word they retcon. You don't want to retcon things and have it not make any sense with the previous what was previously already done. You know, doesn't make any sense. Like a power like this, it really does seem like something Jedi Masters would have stumbled upon generations ago, and we hear nothing of it until this movie. And that's what's disconcerting, is when they retcon things and it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't mind new Force powers cropping up. It's just you would have to make it make sense with the lore that's already in place, and it doesn't here. But
No, not at all.
And it's really convenient too. Like you can snatch a necklace off and analyze it in no time flat, and all of a sudden you're there at the planet wherever, you know.
Yeah, they are.
You know,
and they barely realize that they're being tracked now and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Maybe you should use the Force to turn the Skype off. I don't know. Because there is a precedent for locating people with the Force. There is that precedent. It's just that really deep connection that Kylo and Rey had. There was nothing like it in any of the books or the films, or any of the comics that are canon, or anything like that. There's nothing like that.
All right. Well, he came up with the original power, but unfortunately, it just doesn't fit with anything.
Yeah. Okay, so here's one of the worst plot conveniences of the movie, and I think there's two main plot conveniences that are absolutely terrible, and that's that Rey uses the dagger that she recovered from Kylo's quarters to locate the second Wayfinder on the wrecked Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
And this dagger shouldn't have worked. I mean, if you really consider it, it shouldn't have worked. You look at the wreckage of the Death Star, and there's this little like this ruler type thing that slides out of the dagger, and she uses it, and it lines up perfectly with pointing the way.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that happened. I just remember her putting it up to the Death Star. I forgot. Sure. Oh, this is a tape measure now? How feet am I? I'm 2 blades long.
This is so ridiculous, because if you really think about it, right now the Death Star is it's misshapen. Okay, mm-hmm. It's misshapen as it had landed on the Endor, and Endor should be a dead Hulk, like a dead husk right now, with something that large coming down and smashing into the surface. It should have wiped out all life on Endor. Whatever. We'll just roll with that nonsense. But anyway, the Death Star itself is misshapen, so that dagger pointing like where the Wayfinder is, it shouldn't have worked. Because if you put the Death Star back together in its original shape, then the stupid dagger shouldn't have lined up anywhere, pointing anywhere to anything. It was a huge, massive plot convenience. And I think we were talking about this earlier. What you said made a lot of sense too. Like, once she got inside, how did she find her way through all that? It's not like the dagger is a map that could, point her in the right direction once she's inside the ruined Death Star.
Yeah, I mean, because she's not even close. She's like a sea, some so far away through because of the sea or water, and then she not only does she find it like you said, but when she gets to that part where she saw the dagger, she knows like how far where to go in the Death Star, or how far up exactly she had to go.
And that was
It
another
was
thing too. She just so happened to be standing in the right place for this dagger to line up perfectly. This is the worst plot convenience and garbage writing. I mean, a kid could figure this out. Hey, that shouldn't work. whatever, you know. Well, she finds the second Wayfinder, confronts her evil side, right? She has that vision of herself as
Mhm.
a Sith Lord or a Sith acolyte or whatever, and has a brief battle with herself, which was kind of interesting. And I'll give the movie points for this too. We finally get to see Rey's weakness. It's her fear of her dark side, and
Mhm.
that is actually something that resonates with normal folks. That's very archetypical when you're trying to confront your dark side. So that was actually a welcome bit of information. We finally get to see, Rey having a weakness, but she loses the Wayfinder right away. Kylo picks it up and smashes it. So it's like this whole Wayfinder hunt, like it came up to nothing. Like they should have just confronted Kylo to begin with and stolen his or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really odd. We spent a whole lot of time with our characters looking for this Wayfinder, and it just gets destroyed right away. And then
It's kind of like the scene from The Mummy where oh, dang, I can't speak now. The scene from The Mummy where the Magi go to steal the key, but she doesn't realize it's a key yet, and then they burn the ship, so they're running away, and then Rick's like, or she's like, oh, I forgot the map, and he's like, I'm the map, it's all in here, type thing, and Kylo does the same thing. Like, if you want me, you have to go, or if you want what's the knowledge in my head, you have to join me.
Yeah. Now, what did you think of that? The lightsaber battle that ensued afterwards.
I don't remember. I don't remember her fighting herself. I remember a fight. I thought he fought her. I thought she just saw herself, and then you get like where the evil Rey, and I called it was going to be a vision too, but a lot of people did.
I
She makes her good Rey jump when like she sees her teeth, fangs, and then I think that's why she dropped it. That was cool. That was creepy.
Yeah.
But that's why she dropped it, because she got scared. I don't remember lightsaber fight happening.
Yeah, Rey. They had a very brief battle. Rey lights up Anakin's saber. People keep saying, "Oh, she's got Luke's light." No, she does not have Luke's lightsaber. She has Anakin's lightsaber. She lights Anakin's lightsaber, and I think they come to a single blow, and then you see that Swiss Army lightsaber, dumbass design lightsaber, that it flips back up to kind of catch her blade, and that's when you see the evil toothy Rey. And yeah, that's why she dropped the Wayfinder, and Kylo picks it up and smashes it with his hand. What is that thing made out of? Like confetti? I mean, he smashes it with his hand.
Actually, speaking about that, smashing with his hand, I'm not for sure how far ahead I am. So it could be smashed with the hand, but later it can't be burned by the fire.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we do like keep it moving too.
I didn't even think.
It just now came to my head, like as you were talking about it, like he smashed it with his hand. I'm like, hey, you know what? Didn't it live but with the fire that was going? Yeah, it just came to me.
Sure, this fire can melt. It can melt starship alloy, but Kylo can. But it won't. It won't melt the Wayfinder. But Kylo can smash it with his hand. Sure.
And so the fans know. Well, just because we do got to continue with it, and I think you did sound done with your point, right, on the last one.
Yeah.
So, and I can't remember at what scene this point is, but they show the Star Destroyers later in the film, how it blows up a single planet, and which is what I want to show with Han. Where he talks about his experience with that type of stuff from A New Hope.
Yeah, the technology seems impossible to have a single Star Destroyer with the ability to destroy a planet.
Yeah.
And they don't explain like any new technological advances in power consumption or whatever. They just, this Star Destroyers can now take out planets without any explanation.
Just because we don't have a Death Star anymore, because we can't have a third Death Star.
Yeah. Now we got to have little mini Death Stars. No, the whole idea seems ridiculous to me. I don't think a single Star Destroyer would be able to harness that kind of power. At least considering what was already established previously. Because if you look at the scenes with the Death Star, with it firing its super laser, there's these massive tunnels, right?
Mm-hmm.
That fire this beam, and then there's several of these massive tunnels, and they all converge into one to go and kind of blast apart a planet.
Yeah, and I'll probably show a clip of that too as a reminder. So I'll show, well, I guess in the same scene I'll show Alderaan getting blown up because you can see all that, and then what Han says about the firepower.
What? You're far too trusty. Dantooine is too remote to make an effective demonstration, but don't worry. We will deal with your rebel friends soon enough.
Commence primary ignition.
I don't know if it will take that. Oh, you know I think.
Charts. What's going on? Our position's correct, except no Alderaan.
What do you mean? Where is it?
So I'm trying to tell you, kid, it ain't there. It's totally blown away.
What? How? Destroyed by the Empire.
The entire Starfleet couldn't destroy the whole planet. It'd take 1,000 ships of